guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be doing this look that you see here. I talked about in my video where I first used the Anastasia Prism palette that one of the shades in particular in here, the shade Throne, really I thought would go nicely with a couple of the matte shades in the Subculture palette, the Untamed shade and Axis. So I wanted to bring you that tutorial using the metallic Throne shade in the Prism palette and then pairing it with the matte shades in Subculture. You don't have to have both of these palettes to do this look. If you have similar shades, go ahead, you can use the same techniques I use just with your shades, and this can really work for any type of monochromatic look. If you have any sort of matte shade in a different color with a metallic shade in that same sort of color range, I think it'll look really nice. It's kind of just a really easy technique to do using a metallic or shimmery shade on the lid with colors in the crease that are basically the same tone, the same type of shade. So that was my inspiration for this look. Let's get right on into the tutorial. So as I mentioned, we'll be using both palettes, but I'm going to start with Subculture using the matte shade Dawn. It's a perfect transition shade, and I'm just setting this all in the crease and on the lid. Then I'm going to go into the Prism palette and use the shade that is that kind of white shimmery shade. It's called Lucid. You will notice as I'm applying this, it can be a little chunky, like you just saw there. Some kind of chunky glitter falls off. You just kind of have to work with it. This shade is not the best, I will admit. I do love the palette, but this shade could have been formulated a little bit better. It's just a titch difficult to work with, as you see there. I'm going back into Subculture and I'm going to go into the shade Untamed. You will notice that this matte shade kind of has a lot of fallout if you have this palette, so you see me here just making sure to tap off the excess and start with a very light hand. It's going to look bad at first and pretty patchy, but we're going to build up that color and it'll look a lot better as we go. So I'm just putting this all throughout the crease, from the outer crease all the way into the inner crease for this smoky eye look. The next shade we're going to use is the shade Axis, which is a even more kind of deep blue teal shade than Untamed. Untamed is a little more green. So this one is deeper and more blue, and I'm just using this to diffuse everything out. This shade is formulated a little bit better than Untamed, so you'll notice that when I went in with this shade over top, it kind of made things look a lot better. I'm also packing on a little bit of this on the outer corner so that we kind of have a deeper outer corner. The Duochrome shade that we're going to use on the lid kind of reflects almost like a deep, deep navy blue. So I want to make sure that we really have a nice pigmented outer V area to add some depth there that's even deeper than what's going to be placed on the lid. And for the lid, we're using this shade Throne from the Prism palette. You can see here as I turn the palette, the shade, even in the pan, turns to that kind of deep blue shade. First, I'm just packing on the shade with a flat synthetic brush. I have not sprayed it with any sort of makeup setting spray or anything. I wanted to show you what it looks like without that, and it's actually pretty pigmented. I was very impressed by the pigment that came off without any assistance whatsoever. You will see me later on go back over the lid with some more of that Throne shade on this brush and sprayed just to add a little extra something. First, I wanted to diffuse out the crease area, so I'm going back in with that shade Dawn just to really create more of that ombre effect. I felt like it was just too harsh. The teal kind of crease shades were not blended as well as I'd like, and so going in with a lighter shade or going back to that transition shade that you started with is really helpful in making sure everything is diffused. So that's what I'm doing here with that Dawn shade. It also, because it's kind of a yellowy, I don't know, like tan shade, it makes the blue on the edges look even more green, which I really, really like. Now I'm taking the black shade from the Prism palette, which is called Obsidian, and I'm taking it on actually an eyeliner brush, and the reason I'm doing that is because it is so pigmented that there's a ton of fallout, so I wanted to actually place the black down, and then I will take a blending brush and blend it all out. But you see me here just placing it right in that outer V, making sure the most of the pigment is kind of exactly where I want it, and then I'll go in with the shade Parallel from Prism and really just kind of blend that all together, blend it out. This is a really good technique when you have deep dark shades that are ultra pigmented that will really have a lot of fallout. Place them down first gently and then kind of work them in with a more medium toned color. I'm going to go back into the Throne shade, and this time I am going to spray my brush. I just really wanted to amp up that lid shade, and you'll see here it takes it to the next level. I absolutely love this green blue duochrome shade Throne from the Prism palette. It's so gorgeous. Just in case you are wondering too, this little brush I'm using is from Japanesque. You can get them in stores at Ulta. I'm not sure where else, but I really like it. I'm going to pop on these lashes. They're double wispies from Ardell. And then I'm going to prime. Can we just appreciate the artistry of the Maybelline Master Prime Squeeze Bottle? Love. Next, I'm going to go in with some foundation. I'm using the Bourjois Healthy Mix Glow Foundation. I really like this stuff. I will link where I purchase it down below, because if you're in the US, you can't get it in stores. You can only get it online. So I'll leave that link for you below, along with everything else, of course. And next, I'm going to use the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer. I use the shade Light Sand, if you're curious. And I'm just using this to conceal underneath my eyes and also to brighten around my face. So you'll see me take this here also down the bridge of my nose, onto the forehead, chin, everywhere. I kind of use a lot of this product. This is now my second tube that I've gone through, but it does last a very long time. Then I'm just taking my Real Technique sponge to blend this all in. And next I'm going to set the under eye using the Maybelline Fit Me Loose Powder. This stuff is so brightening, and it's drugstore. It's really amazing, really good drugstore product. So I'm just setting the different areas that I put that concealer basically, and I can't tell you though, every time I use that product it gets all over me, which is kind of annoying. Next, I am setting the rest of my face with the Bare Minerals Bare Pro Powder Foundation. I put this everywhere else that I didn't use the Maybelline Fit Me powder, and you'll have to excuse me as I'm swiping that away. It goes everywhere and yeah, sneeze fest. Anyways, we're all good here. Next, I'm going to finish off the lower lash line. I'm using the Subculture palette for this, using that shade Dawn to just kind of get a base down, and then I'm going to go in with whatever was left on that eyeliner brush. A little bit of that black was left, and I'm just going to tight line there, add a little definition. I'm going to go back in and just blend that out with the brush that had Dawn on it. And next I'm going to line my waterline using the Sephora 12-Hour Black Kohl Liner. I then used the eyeliner brush that had a little black powder to stamp it over the liner to make it last. Next, I am going to go in with an inner corner highlight using that very pretty shade from the Prism palette that we used on the brow bone. And then I'm going to set my brows with the Glossier Boy Brow. I was going to say, I don't even know what I was going to say. Anyways, next I'm going to bronze my face using the MAC Global Glow Bronzer. I've really been loving this. I've been using it every day. It gives such a warm, beautiful sheen. And I basically just place it in all of the bronze and contour areas. Even though it isn't a matte bronzer, you can still kind of use it to contour. You'll see me here using it on the nose and it looks just fine. Next, I'm going to use this Milani Baked Blush, and this is in the shade Dolce Pink. I really want to get some more shades. I know there's some peachy shades. I love this blush. Again, I love the sheen it gives. And next, I will spray my face with the NYX Dewy Finish Setting Spray, pat that in with my Real Technique sponge, and go in with some highlight. I'm going to use the Wet n Wild Megaglow highlight in Precious Petals. Such a nice drugstore highlight. I heard from Kathleen Light's video, one of her recent videos, that they're coming out with an entire palette of these, like almost that looks like one of the Anastasia glow kits, so I think that's really cool. My NYX lip liner was giving me trouble. I think it's time to get a new one because it's like the last little nub, but I just lined my lips and now I'm using the e.l.f. liquid lipstick in the shade Praline, and we're done. So this is the finished makeup look. I hope that you guys enjoyed watching. If you did, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel so you can stay up to date on all my upcoming videos, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!